Have you ever looked at a scene from a game and just thought, wow, but not the wow from a AAA game with a team of hundreds and the budget to match, but a scene that makes you just sit there and enjoy the small colored pixels on your screen. There's something about the pixelated art style that rivals even the most graphically stunning games. Even games like Dead Cells use 3D assets with a shader to convert them into pixel art. I want to know how these games seem to bring alive vivid scenes with pixel art. You see, pixel art originated from limited hardware during the 1970s and 80s, when games and devices weren't able to render those detailed graphics. But today, making pixel art isn't a necessity, but a choice, one that I want to improve. And considering my questionable art skills in my last attempt at making a game, I thought I would dedicate 3 days to improving my pixel art skills. And as with any type of art form, pixel art takes hundreds if not thousands of hours to perfect. And since I've only given myself 3 days, I know I can't learn everything. But if I want to go from this to this, I have to start somewhere. I'm not like a toddler at drawing, I'm not completely new, but pixel art is different from the traditional style I'm used to. So the first step was to familiarize myself with a software used by many indie devs, Aseprite. There's a lot of good tutorials on Aseprite by creators like Watt and Adam C. Uni, so check out their channels because that's what I used to learn. And day one was all about finding my baseline. To start, I wanted to see what I could do without any tutorials, and by the end of day 3, I want to reproduce a similar image to see how much I've improved. I went for a green color theme, imagining a king on his way to a towering dungeon in the distance. I didn't have any particular reason for this theme, I just thought it looked cool, and while the final result didn't turn out great, it was a good starting point. Next, I followed some tutorials by creators like JuniperDev and Watt to establish myself with the software. And not surprisingly, I started to get better. Time was flying by and I managed to finish 3 more pieces by the end of the day. The first one was okay. It was a slime sticking to the side of the canvas, which was pretty simple, but I still think it came out well. Many pixel artists use darker shades of colors for their outline instead of just black, and adding it to my work helped it stand out more than I expected. My second piece was my favorite, not only today, but throughout the whole 3 days, and the one featured in the thumbnail. It started from an idea to flesh out the king from my first attempt, and due to me not wanting to draw a face, I don't want to draw a face either in traditional art, I imagined the king without one, straying from the original hero theme I had envisioned. The thing that really set this piece aside from the rest was the fog. I was just gonna put some black fog there, but sticking to the dark theme going on, I added some blood that this mysterious fog had revealed. After that, I wanted to take a break from all the doom and gloom stuff and decided to draw the Teto plush. I couldn't figure out a way to add a reference image in Aseprite in a different panel without just making it a transparent background. So I just put the reference on a different monitor. If anyone knows, comment down below. The actual piece came out pretty well, though I went back to the dark vibe later without knowing it would override my initial save. So now I don't have the original, which I guess is kind of fitting considering the black bars I added. Tile sets were the next logical step in my pixel art journey. Game devs use them to simplify the process of creating a map by reusing tiles instead of drawing a new area for every single place. My formatting for the time-lapse isn't close to optimal, unlike the ones I see from people way more experienced than me on itch.io, but after learning the basic tiles that should be included in a tile set, at least for a 2D side-scroller, it was pretty straightforward. The video I was watching by Apex Fox had him dragging the tiles he had in Aseprite from the left of the screen to the canvas, and I didn't have a clue how he did that, so I resorted to copying and pasting tiles from above repeatedly. Other than that, the rest of the day was spent drawing this cool Gengar. Animations are an integral part of any game, and I decided that on the final day, I would try to make them. In the Aseprite, adding animations is actually pretty simple. just click the New Frame button in the bottom right and press Alt-D on your current frame to duplicate. And then change your drawing in whatever way you want it to move. For my first attempt, I animated the slime I had made on day 1. Just a simple up and down animation with 2 different states. One of the regular slime and another with the top shifted 2 pixels up, spread across 7 frames, 4 for the down and 3 for the up. After that, I wanted to work on something more complex. And after drawing this terrible tree, I don't even want to talk about it, I landed on a sword swinging animation. It was a simple 4-frame animation with the trails following the sword to convey motion. I also added fancy effects on the trails to make it look more unique. And finally, onto the big challenge, the redraw of my drawing from day 1. I kept the green theme, but this time making the hills closest to the viewer the darker one to convey depth. And for the hill in the background, I varied the outline a bit to make it look like there were trees too far away to make out clearly. Along with that, I made a winding path finding its way from the imposing tower in the distance to the character in the foreground, helping bring the scale into context. And for the final finishing touches, I added lights along the path as well as stars and multiple moons in the sky, for no other reason than to fill up the space. It was looking a little empty up there. And finally, just for a little extra practice before the day ended, I wanted to make a new profile picture. After all, my current one needs some work. I wanted to keep the general idea from my current one, an upside down smile, but frame it more, not boring. Taking inspiration from the fisheye perspective, I drew one eye really close to the imaginary camera and one farther away. And from there, it was just about adding details like stars in the eyes, mouth, and background. And that's it. That's my 3-day journey, from being unfamiliar with Aseprite and pixel art in general, to learning how to make tile sets, animations, and even illustrations. While I no doubt have a lot of work to do to improve my skills, this should be enough to at least get by for the time being. This has been Crossy, and I hope we cross paths again.